What is going on, everybody? This is Cost Games. Let's talk about agriculture and Manor Lords. So far in Manor Lords, we only have sheep as a livestock animal, and we have your basic crop farms. Number one, let's talk about sheep. So you're going to need 3 production buildings outside of your tailor, which is an artisan in one of these houses. As you can see, mine's like the 4th one down. So I currently only have 20 sheep. I decided not to go too much because my last playthrough, I had so much yarn that I couldn't do anything with it. I literally could not trade it away fast enough, and I think I only had like 80 sheep. So honestly, I think the sweet spot for the pastures is going to be about 30 to 40 sheep. I think that's really good per one family inside of the sheep farm. So your 3 joined buildings with your agriculture when it comes to sheep farming is going to be your livestock trading post, which you go into here. You go to trade. If you want to import sheep, which I believe you kind of have to do to get them, you import sheep. You tell it how many you want. Mine was 20. And you assign somebody to the trading post, and they are going to automatically get you sheep. Now, you do need a pasture to start collecting them. You don't need the sheep farm at first, but you do need a pasture. Then you can build the sheep farm, assign somebody to it, and they are going to start to manage the sheep. There is a tech tree that allows you to get sheep breeding. Sheep grazing on the pasture slowly multiply. This is super overpowered. It will fill up your pastures, no matter how big they are, super quick. So I did not select it in this playthrough because, like I said, it gets a little much towards the end game. So your sheep farmers are going to start collecting wool. They will then take the wool to your storage house. Your storage house will collect it, and then it'll be brought to your weaver's workshop. Your weaver's workshop, as you can see, that wool just went away. It will turn wool into yarn, and then your weavers sell the yarn at the marketplace. Your tailor then goes and buys the yarn and turns it into cloaks, just cloaks. That's all it's used for. So yeah, they buy the yarn, turn it into cloaks, which you also need dye for. And if you have a berry patch, it's super easy to make dye. You just need a dyer's workshop, and you get a clothing item. So as you can see in the market, in the requirements for your burgage plots, they do need clothing. Yarn is considered a clothing stall. Linen, leather, and yarn are going to be your clothing. So you can knock out your clothing stall for a level 3 house with simply a tanner, which is going to turn hide into leather, and then your weaver, who is going to turn wool into yarn. So something that I prefer to do pretty early on is to generate a trade. So we're going to go into the crafting materials, and we're going to export. Oh, I actually export wool. That's kind of dumb. So we're not going to export the wool. That might be where that's going. I like to do the yarn, and I export it, and I leave about 50 to 70. That way I have plenty of craftable stuff, and they can wait until I get a new harvest of wool. Second, we're going to talk about the backbone of agriculture. This is crop farming. So if you do not have the heavy plow, which is going to be right here in your tech tree, this allows you to put an oxen attached to your farmhouse and plow the fields much quicker. If you do not have that, I recommend at least 3 families, even for small plots the size of this. Now, I don't know exactly how big these are. Let's double check. So these may be around half a Morgan to 1 Morgan each. And I have 2 to 3 families in each of these farmhouses, and they work pretty well. Now, the way you want to set up these fields, obviously you can watch or look at your fertility by clicking these, and you're going to go to Emmer Fertility, your flax fertility, barley, and rye. So your emmer is going to be your wheat in this game. Flax can be turned to linen, which is a cloth, and barley is going to be this can get turned into malt, which can then be turned into ale to sell at your tavern or export for a good chunk of change. Rye is just another type of wheat that you can use to make flour, which then makes your bread. So, like I said, if you are going to have families working these plots, I recommend staying between that 0.5 Morgan to 1 Morgan. 1 Morgan's a little bit big, but they can work it eventually. And what you're going to want to do is go to crop rotation, and you're going to leave at least 1 year. As you can see, I have terrible fertility here. But you're going to leave 1 year out, 1 year fallow. And this will allow your plots to regenerate the fertility for the plants coming up in the next 2 years. Now, it doesn't matter what year you choose to do your fallow. You can do back-to-back or split them up. Doesn't matter at all. As long as you have 1 year, it's going to work just fine. Next, we're going to talk about the fertilization perk. This is, you have to unlock the heavy plow to get to this part of the tree. This allows you to get the fence up upgrade, which allows the fallow field to be used as a pasture, which your sheep will then be moved to the fallow field, and they will graze around in there and poop and fertilize your field. And it will restore your fertility significantly. Let's talk about the joined buildings when it comes to your crop production. Number one, your windmill is going to produce flour from either rye or emmer, your wheat varieties. Now that flour can be used to be turned into bread at either a communal oven or an artisan baker, which is in a perk. Also up here in the agriculture section, which is called bakeries. This allows for a level 2 house to be turned into a baker, and they will start to make bread, and it's twice as efficient, meaning you put in 1 flour, you get 2 bread. I'd highly recommend this if you're going to go through a farming playthrough. Next, we're going to be talking about your barley, which, like I said, this turns into malt, and this is going to be used at the malt house right here. Workers use the barley to produce malt, which then produces your ale, which you need a brewer, which is a level 2 upgrade to an artisan, or upgrade to a burgage plot into an artisan, and they will then produce your ale from the malt produced at the malt house. Next, let's talk about flax. Flax can be turned into cloth, which is called linen. And this is created at the Weaver's Workshop. So if you are using sheep in your playthrough, you're already going to have the Weaver's Workshop, which is great because it can double time. It can produce linen from flax. And like I said earlier, linen can be used at your tailor shop. It counts as a clothing stall. And it can be crafted into gambesons, which is like some type of torso clothing. And then also clothes, just regular clothes. And that is 1 linen and 1 dye to produce that. So those can be exported, or they can be used as the clothing stall option, and your people will eventually, I believe it's 1 year for clothing items. That's the burn rate for the supplies on the houses. So every year they're going to burn through 1 piece of clothing, and then they're going to require a new one. So I really hope this does help you out when it comes to the agriculture here in Manor Lords. I'm really enjoying the game. If you are too, please leave a like and subscribe. I'm a smaller YouTuber, helps me out a ton. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down in the comments. I will get to them as soon as I possibly can. I really appreciate you coming to check out my video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.